Hi everybody, this is a quick tutorial of Voce Vista, and I'm just going to kind of take you through several of the things that you'll notice so you can kind of get started on your own. To begin with, when you open the program, you'll notice over here on the right hand side there will be several small windows. This particular one that I have open is vowel chart. There's also one that says analysis. There are several others. I tend to close them all out because they're specialized windows that I only use when I want to. Just since the vowel chart's open, it's kind of fun to explore formants and harmonics, particularly the formants you see. The x-axis is the first formant frequency, the y-axis is the second formant frequency, and this shows you some of the vowel shapes. And then if you kind of move over one, it'll show you like oo is roughly 300 something hertz and 900 something hertz for the second formant. You can also change the language target. You can play with that on your own. If you click on it, it will also make sound. So I'm going to close out of all the windows that are there. That's the only one I had open. And then show you, note that there's a line here on the spectrogram. If I were to sing into it, ah, you'll see that in the spectrogram window right here, you can see my harmonics from low to high. And then in this window, it tilts them 90 degrees. So here you can see my harmonics low to high. And in the main window here, you can tell the intensity by the darkness of the harmonics. So the darker ones here are the strongest. And in this 90-degree tilted window, you can tell the intensity by the peaks. So the taller peaks are the strongest. To go through the upper menus up here, the Voce Vista menu is just a normal, preferences, services, that kind of thing. The file menu is, again, open, close, save. It's got frequently or recently created files. Edit, copy, delete, etc. The view menu, though, is interesting. There are a lot of windows and functions that you can open from within this view menu. The ones that I have open or checked right here are the ones that I like to use normally. Again, you can explore the others at your leisure. They're all very interesting but specialized. This zoom in and zoom out I'll talk about in just a second. It's kind of helpful. Filters we're going to use a lot, but I don't tend to use them from the menu. The same with markers. I don't tend to use markers much, but they're kind of interesting and you may find use for them. The sliders, again, I don't use them very often, but you may want to and you can explore those. They're present on the main menu or main window, so we'll look at those in a second, so are markers. And the tools are in the main window as well. The window, you can change the way you view the screen, and that can be interesting if you want to explore that. So looking at the main window now, over here on the upper left, we see the record, play, stop, and forward buttons, just regular like a CD player or something. This window, part of the window here, is the input volume, which you'll want to play with if you overload the signal or don't get a strong enough signal. Just move the input volume up or down. This is the output volume. So if you want to play back, you can turn that up or down. These two, this is brightness and this is contrast if you want to see the visual difference. So I turn the brightness down, you see everything disappears. Or if I turn it way up, I get a lot more information. So just basically managing the way the information is viewed. And then contrast, you get the idea there too. This is our marker window. So when I click 1, you see that it tells me where A is, A3. I can move that marker up and down. So right now it's telling me I was singing a D sharp 3, that's a D4, whatever. So you can add lots of these and mark the harmonics you want to, should you want to, if that seems interesting. This is a snap to function that I rarely use because I like to use the information that's given to me. This menu, I can turn off the spectrogram itself, and you see it went away. This menu deals entirely with this main window. Turn the spectrogram back on. I can have it display the fundamental frequency by clicking display pitch, and it puts that little blue line through the middle of it. I don't love that because it seems superfluous information. I can tell what the fundamental frequency is, and it puts up that blue line which gets in my visual way. I can also turn the piano off or the staff off from this menu and change my view. If I go to horizontal, it flips it the other way. And that can be interesting if you like that visual better. This menu deals with over here. So the spectrogram on the right, or the long-term average spectrum, you can call it. So again, I can turn it off entirely so that we're just getting the one main window. If it's there, I can change the way I view it. So now it's horizontal again. Um, Again, piano and staff view. I can have the pitch on there as well. I can also display the average of the amplitude, which is something that a lot of researchers will do. And this last menu is the options menu. There's a lot down in here that I'm not going to go into, but basically if something weird is happening and you can't find the answer in the view menu, you can dig into this options menu. And if you want to set up the way it looks, the way the playback happens, if you want to put a microphone into your mix, which is a really interesting, important thing to do eventually if you want to get accuracy in your sound, it's all in here. So you can explore that. To go back to the way we're going to be using it mostly, you'll see that the frequencies are represented in hertz right here where the hand is. And then if I left click and the hand kind of grabs, I can go scroll down to see upper frequencies or scroll up to see lower frequencies. I like to kind of keep the piano centered pretty much so that we have around 20 hertz on the bottom, maybe as low as high as 40, all the way up to about 10,000. I mentioned the zoom in, zoom out. So if you hit, while the hand is here, if you hit the number 2 or the at symbol, you'll see that this window shrinks a little bit, and all of a sudden I got more frequencies to look at. If I hit the number 1 or the exclamation point, it'll zoom the other direction. So I can really get focused in on some or zoom it out to see more harmonics present. The keyboard, obviously, and it will play back, which is nice. It's turned up on its edge, of course. And then we have a staff view here. And so you can see kind of where the frequencies locate with the staff. You can also, up in this toggle bar, if you drag the transparency down, it'll start to tell you what vocal parts are on the staff. I don't want to see that, but I do leave the staff view on when I explain to people so that they have that point of reference. Again, I'll show you to record. You simply press the red record button and start making sound. So right now I'm talking and you can see the reference there. I'll stop it now by clicking the stop button. It will always record from the last point in which it recorded before. So I click record again and it keeps going. I can also stop the recording by clicking the space bar. I can restart it by hitting the space bar. But that's playback, not record. So space bar is for stop and play, and you hear it playing back, making sounds, and you can hear me talking there. If I go back to record, I'm going to record just a sustained pitch. Again, and again you'll see all of the harmonics present in my sound right there. The next little bit is what you'll want to pay a lot of attention to. So I've got a Mac and I'm going to click the command button. On Windows, I think it's maybe the option button, but you'll figure it out. It's either command or option or one of them. I haven't used a Windows in a little while. But I'm going to click command and then I'm going to click my left click on the mouse and drag a window. You'll see the window opening up now. That was command left click drag. Now I've got a window that it's going to repeat on. So watch what happens. So now I'm isolated within this window right here. You can click the lock selection button if you want to, and now even if I click outside, it won't release that window. If I hadn't clicked lock selection, then it would have released that. But if I come back in here, it'll keep repeating. Now I've got a selection isolated. I'm going to now isolate certain parts of that selection by clicking the filter button. And all the filter button is F. F for filter. When I click that F, what you'll notice is within my selected area, I have filtered out very specific elements. In this case, I filtered out just my fundamental frequency. To look at the filter window real quick, we have what I just did, the drag button. So if your cursor is over this red box, upper red box, and you left click, you can widen or narrow the filter box. If you come over here to the left side and click the minus, you've just filtered out anything that's within the box and left everything else there. If you click the plus, you filtered in anything within the filter box and filtered everything else out. If I were to click the red X, the filter box would go away. I'll bring it back by clicking F. I will drag back down so that I just focus on my fundamental frequency. And then if I want to drag the filter box itself, I come off of this red box to the gray line, and then you can drag the filter box around. I'm going to narrow it down just a little bit more, and then I'm going to play back my sound and drag the filter box so you can hear the different harmonics. So right now I can't really hear that, so I'm going to come over to this vertical red line, and I'm going to increase the volume on the filter box. And then I'm going to drag it upwards. Second harmonic. Etc. And then I'll drag it back down and we'll hear all of them. I'm going to turn my volume down just a little bit. And there's the sound we started with, which is me singing an ah. This filter box is a big part of what makes Voce Vista so wonderful. You can have multiple filter boxes. So I've got this one. I'm going to just bring it up here and highlight these two guys. I'm going to add a new one, highlight these guys, and now you'll hear just those four harmonics. I can turn one of them down. And back up again. You get the idea. And I can close these filter boxes back out. If I wanted to create a new window, well, within this selection, I can, from the edit menu, copy, paste, cut, etc. So I could delete that selection and it goes away entirely. And then I can create a new filter window by doing my command, left click, and drag. And once I've got that window, then if I move my cursor over the edge of it, you'll see this little plus with two arrows. If I left click on that, I can change the size of that filter window and play with the information inside of it. So that's the basic breakdown of the elements that you can use to get started with, and we can play with together as we go.